Good morning and welcome to Goal Setting 101. I'm so grateful and honored to be with you this morning. We've arrived at the start of our journey. If we haven't met before, my name is Michael Edwards. I'm a professional speaker, trainer, and coach on the John Maxwell team and president of the Edwards Group of Texas. The Edwards Group of Texas is a family owned, values based, purpose driven, and customer focused organization whose purpose is to help you discover, and unleash your potential. We're based here in San Antonio, Texas, and we serve clients worldwide. As a former executive in the telecommunications industry, I spent the last 25 years developing leaders just like you, and I'm both honored and excited to join you in your leadership journey and personal growth journey. If you've been following our website, our Facebook page, or any of the social media, I hope you've noticed a series of webinars and masterminds with a common theme. 2021, the best year ever. Now, many of us had a rough go of 2020 with all of the things that came with COVID and lockdowns and all of that good stuff. Many of us had a great year. Regardless of your 2020, I am here to come alongside and help you make 2021 the best year ever. Now, today is the second in a series of webinars designed to help you kick off 2021 on a solid foundation and make it the best year ever. We started a couple of weeks ago with core values reimagined. Our core values are really the center point of what we want to accomplish. And all of these things will continue to build upon those core values. We'll start building on core values and purpose and intent and short-term and long-term objectives. So the webinars build on the concept. And the hope is that you will jump into 2021 with a great foundation, able to launch into the year and just crush it. Now, if you want to view the replay of the Core Values webinar, there's a replay on my YouTube channel, the Edwards Group of Texas. Now, on January 10th, I invite you to explore your purpose with a complimentary webinar titled Discover Your Why. Now, I'm deeply passionate about helping others set and achieve great goals that will improve the quality of their lives. I'm incredibly motivated to share with you the importance of goals and how to set and achieve them. And equally as important, how to avoid common mistakes. Now, before we jump into today's webinar, I want to review a few features of Zoom so we can interact during our time together. Now, if you're joining us from Facebook Live, you won't have all of these options. But those of you who have joined us from Zoom, this is an interactive experiment. So go ahead and take a look at your toolbar at the bottom of your screen. You should have three buttons, one of them being chat, one of them being Q&A. And while it's not a button, we will take advantage of some polling today. Now in the chat, just to ensure that it's working well, go ahead and type in the chat where you're calling from and what you hope to learn today. Give you 20 seconds. Looks like Rodolfo, San Antonio. Kip, San Antonio, welcome. Thank you for joining. All right. Well, the chat feature is working. And we'll, if you have anything that you want to talk about throughout the presentation, my monitor behind me will pop up any of the chats on here. Brandon, San Antonio, want to learn the basics of goal setting. Welcome, Brandon. Thank you for joining. Brandon is with Tobin Automotive. Happy to have you here today. The next feature is the Q&A. Now, anytime throughout the presentation you have a question, hit that Q&A button and type your question into the Q&A. That'll ensure that as we go along, I address your questions. And at the end, we'll do a real quick recap of the Q&A. And then finally, polling. Throughout the presentation, we're going to take a couple of polls to get an understanding of where we are on our leadership or personal growth journey. If you're joining us from Facebook Live again, those features won't be available. You can type into the comments anything, questions that you might have, and we'll do our best to address those. So I'm going to launch the poll to just give us a test here. And the poll is about our familiarity with Zoom. How familiar are you with the Zoom platform? Your options. What is Zoom? I'm a Zoom novice. I use Zoom frequently. I'm a Zoom expert. I'm sick of using Zoom. Go ahead and pop your response into there. For me, Zoom has been a godsend. I am able to reach more people in more places thanks to Zoom. So I don't believe I'm an expert, but I am certainly grateful for Zoom. Okay, so it looks like we are all frequent users of Zoom. The good news is we've all heard of Zoom. And the even better news is nobody is sick of using Zoom. All right, so let's continue to roll through Goal Setting 101 now that we're familiar with the poll and Zoom tools. So first, how do we define goals? And my question to you is, how do you define goals? Pop into the chat your definition of a goal. I see Sequana and Lily joining from Facebook. Hello, good morning. Any takers? Pop into chat your definition of a goal. Something that I'm planning to accomplish. Absolutely. Here's how I define a goal: the result or achievement toward which some effort is directed. I'll say that again: the result or achievement toward which effort is directed. Simple enough. And you know, Kip, you really put it in great words. A goal is something I'm planning to accomplish. Rodolfo, an achievable objective in a time frame. Excellent. We're actually going to go into detail in exactly what you just said. So perfect. And thank you for that. Now, the decision to set goals is very important because it impacts our lives in more ways than we can imagine. According to the Code of Living, setting goals affects our lives in 5 ways. 1, setting goals provides a sharp sense of focus. 2, setting goals allows you to measure your progress. 3, setting goals blocks distractions and provides productive boundaries. 4, setting goals combats procrastination. We're going to talk a little bit more about procrastination. And 5, setting goals motivates you. Now, you might be asking, how does this work? Well, stay with me and we'll talk about it. Now, when you set a goal for yourself, you inherently have an end game in mind, which shifts your behaviors and thoughts. With this, you begin to take certain steps to get what you want, and in doing so, you gradually pick up momentum. It's the snowball effect. Now, did you know that momentum is literally addictive? As you progress and get closer to accomplishing your goals, your brain releases dopamine, a substance that controls the reward and pleasure centers in your brain and motivates you to take further actions to achieve your reward, or in your case, a goal. Now, for me, personal health illustrates this well. If any of you have tried to lose weight, tone up, or get into better shape, you've probably with me in that it's really hard to get started. Really hard if you don't have a goal and plan in mind. Now, for my entire adult life, I had been overweight, and I'd always said, I want to lose weight, I want to do this. But I was really never serious about it until the summer of 2018. In the past, I'd set goals, I'd see no progress, and I'd give up. I wouldn't give up right away, but eventually, after not seeing the goals, the results versus my goals, I'd just give up. Now, this time was different. This time I set a series of weekly, monthly, and annual goals that primarily included weight loss, but also included some other things. I then built a very specific plan around hitting these goals. Now, I immediately started seeing results, and my excitement to eat better, exercise more, and get down to my high school weight was incredibly motivating. In 1 year, I lost 110 pounds. Fast forward to today, I'm still focused on being in better shape than ever, sticking to my keto lifestyle and hitting the gym 4 or 5 days a week. That dopamine drip, I still get it from stepping on the scale or lifting a little bit more or running a little bit further. that dopamine still motivates me to achieve my health goals. Now, the goals I set in the summer of 2018 provided me a laser-like focus to plan, execute, and stay the course for more than 2 years. And we'll talk a little bit more about that laser-like focus as we get into the discussion. I'll take a quick scan to make sure we don't have any questions or chat. Looks like we're good, so we'll continue to move on. Let's talk about measuring progress. Now, when you set goals, you're going to have to develop a plan and then abide by that plan in order to get what you want. As you work your plan, you'll notice gradual progress along the way. Now, measuring your gradual progress allows you to see how far you've come. This can be incredibly motivating and encouraging to keep you on track. As you set goals and progress, you'll learn various methods to take steps to get what you want. Likewise, measuring your progress also permits you to make any necessary alterations if you feel you're getting off course. The ability to measure your progress is a skill that will serve you well in all aspects of your life. That's an important thing. One of the things I teach when I coach people is managing your holistic life, not managing your personal life, not managing your business life, but managing all aspects of your life. And goals, whether it's personal or professional, will impact both worlds. Now, I want to give you one word of caution when measuring your goals. You have to make sure you're giving yourself enough time to produce results. In my weight loss example, because weight can fluctuate on a daily basis for a myriad of reasons, I wouldn't step on the scale every single day. I didn't want to be discouraged if tomorrow I didn't lose any weight or maybe gained a pound. That could all be just water or some other extenuating circumstance. So I made sure that my goals were not daily, but weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, and I wouldn't step on that scale to measure progress until I got to the 1 week mark. Every week I measured to see how I would do, and that really kept me motivated. Now, how about distractions? I have the attention span of a 2-year-old, so I have to be very aware of the distractions. The ability to block distractions not only helps you achieve your goals sooner, but it helps you develop a self-discipline, which is a critical life skill. Now, in all of our worlds, I'm sure that there are distractions like crazy. They come in all shapes and sizes, from social media to my golden doodle who's outside the door wanting to play ball right now. When you have an end game in mind and are determined to get to the finish line, it becomes increasingly easy to avoid things that will steer you off course. But for those of you who struggle with blocking distractions on your quest to goal achievement, here are a few helpful tips. Focus on 2 or 3 very important tasks that will propel you in the direction of your goal. Don't try to take on too much at once, which can overwhelm you. I tell people to do 2 of the hard things so you can do more of the things that you want to do. Now, in my case, getting back to my high school weight, I broke it down into multiple goals. Then to achieve the goals, I built a tactical action plan. And these tactics included tactic 1, maintaining a keto lifestyle. Tactic 2, restrict caloric intake to less than 2,000 calories per day. Tactic 3, exercise daily. Now that action plan, those 3 tactics really moved me forward to my goal. And the closer I got to my goal, the more excited I got about it and the more focused I became on the plan. And again, it's a snowball effect. These tasks made it really easy to focus on completing the work in segments. Instead of attempting to tackle the huge weight loss project at once, I broke it down into small bits. Now, distraction often comes when you're not 100% focused on the tasks at hand. Now, let's talk about boundaries. I think oftentimes people, me included, struggle with some of the boundaries. The ability to place boundaries on our life is a paramount skill. Setting goals for ourselves helps us with this. Goals provide boundaries by incentivizing you to know when to say no. That's a tough one as a leader of leaders. You have to know when to say no. Sometimes people get overwhelmed and carried away with trying to do everything at once, and they end up burning out. In fact, burnout is ultimately the enemy to goal attainment. Some people fear boundaries, and others feel that boundaries will prevent them from accomplishing their goals. But in reality, boundaries really do the opposite. Boundaries provide you the environment to move closer to your goals every day. So, how many of you face the procrastination enemy? I'm one. Let's pop up a real quick poll. Oh, Rodolfo, you've got to, oh, you're acknowledging that you face that problem. I got it. Good, good, good. I'm going to pop up a poll here and see how we do with procrastination. How would you rate yourself 1 to 5 on your procrastination? Take 20 seconds to pop that up. Number 1, I'll answer the question tomorrow. Number 5, I'm done. Why is this taking so long? We got a 2. Now, this poll is anonymous, so I don't know who, we've got a couple of 2s. So I don't know who rated themselves a 2, but if you're comfortable, put in the chat why you gave yourself a 2. Now, I rated myself a 4. And you'd expect an executive coach to be a 5 or a 5 plus, but the reality is there are times where I just don't want to do something, and I really have to sit down and force myself to make it happen. Now, procrastination, oh, Rodolfo, too many distractions. Yeah, that's a big one. Particularly in an office environment, people coming in and out. If you're in a customer-facing situation, there are many, many distractions to really take focus away. And creating boundaries really helps with those distractions. One of the things I really encourage my coaching clients to do is figure out ways to create boundaries, with the break glass in case of emergency escape plan. Procrastination, distractions, these all can be big barriers. In fact, procrastination is a plight many people struggle with in all aspects of their life. Thankfully, goal setting effectively combats this common ailment. Setting goals and striving towards them innately increases your willpower. Mighty willpower combined with a desired end game in mind makes staying the course and not wasting time much easier. And I keep going back to the weight loss because for me, it was one of the most difficult things I'd ever done. I've exercised willpower and strong will and determination in every aspect of my life except my health. And by being really, really focused on that, I was able to say no to the cake at the office. I was able to say no to, the great drinks. And I'll tell you, Coca-Cola is my kryptonite. And building that willpower, watching those results really enabled me to stay away from my kryptonite, which is Coca-Cola. The best remedies for procrastination are motivation combined with willpower. Now, speaking of motivation, setting goals is innately exciting and motivational as it gives you something to strive towards and achieve. Now, I don't know about you, but I go through the goal setting process on my birthday. My birthday is November 19th. It's before the end of the year, so I don't get caught up in all of the New Year's resolution stuff. I set a solid set of goals, and the process to me is really, really exciting. It's exciting for a couple of reasons. One, it gives me a preview of what's to come for the next year, but it also gives me that dopamine drip because now I've got some more things that I need to achieve and get closer to. That dopamine drip, if you haven't paid attention to it, do. It's really an amazing chemical reaction. Now, the drive, the energy, and the passion that comes with goal setting and achieving goals is what gives you the strength to avoid those distractions, obstacles, and overcome difficulties to stay the course. Being motivated also means taking action and never giving up. Now, that's important. Being motivated also means taking action and never giving up. You just can't give up. If it's important enough to write the goal down on a piece of paper, it's important enough to go to the ends of the earth to hit that goal. All in all, setting goals is inherently motivational because it compels you to get to the finish line. Now, let's talk about the challenge of goal setting. When setting a goal, it might feel challenging and you have one of two options. Option one, put in the work and set and achieve your goals. Or option two, don't put in the work to set and achieve your goals. Each option comes with a consequence. Sadly, many people go for option two because it's comfortable. Now, I encourage all of you to get out of the comfort zone. In coaching, we have kind of a bullseye target. You can kind of see it on the slide. The center is the comfort zone. The next ring out is the learning zone, and the final ring is the panic zone. And we want to be outside of the comfort zone, but not in the panic zone. We want to be in that learning zone, that place where we stretch ourselves to really hit our goals. The fact that you're here makes me think that you really want to go for option one as much as I want you to. As we go further, I'll share creative and strategic tips for you to successfully set and attain your goals. Now, up next, we'll be going to the most common mistakes that cause people to fall short when they're setting and working on their goals. Now, I'm a big fan of the website lifehack.org. And according to Lifehack, the most common reasons people fail or fall short when working to achieve their goals are their goals are not specific enough. And Rodolfo, this is where we'll talk about your comments about an achievable objective in a time frame. Your goal setting process should follow the SMART goal format. That SMART goal format is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So let's take specific. Now, if I set a goal that says I want to make a lot of money, probably not a good goal. If I set a goal that says I want to make $50,000 by the end of the year, that's much more specific and would be a very good goal. Now, the M, measurable. We covered that in the last 10 minutes or so, but I want to reiterate the importance of measuring your progress towards your goals. You don't want to set a goal and then when you get to the end of that time frame, whether it's next year or next month, you don't want to measure your progress and see you fell short. You want to set steps to measure your progress towards your goals. If you've got to adjust your plan, if you've got to increase your activity to exceed that goal or to meet that goal, then do so. If you're blowing that goal away in the first week, in the first 2 weeks, in the first month, you might think about increasing that goal. Again, we want to stretch ourselves with the goal setting process. We don't want to sit in that comfort zone. Now, the A is about attainable. Is this something I can actually achieve? And going back to my weight loss example, setting a goal of 110 pounds in a month is probably not attainable. It's definitely not healthy. However, losing 110 pounds in a year, it's a stretch, but it's attainable. The R is relevant. Is the goal aligned with your values and long-term objectives? This is an important one. If you're setting a goal that's not in alignment with your values or your long-term objectives, you might fail. You might not be inspired to achieve it because you're not living up to or working towards your greater purpose. If you'd like to dig deeper into your core values or long-term objectives, shoot me an email or a text. I'd love to explore these further with you. And lastly, to Rodolfo's point, time bound. Goals must have a deadline. Without a deadline, they're nothing more than an idea or a dream. Number two, people often procrastinate. When you set a goal for yourself, it's important to start working towards it immediately. So many people get sidetracked or put off the work. This is the best recipe for failure. And number three, they let the critics and naysayers get to them. Don't let that happen. There will always be naysayers and those who doubt your ability to successfully execute your plans. You must rise above the criticism and stick with what you believe in. This often is easier said than done, but in the end, it comes down to choice and willpower. And remember, as you get closer to achieving your goals, as you see progress towards your goals, you start to build more willpower and discipline. Finally, number 4, they keep poor company. Did you know that you're the average of 5 people you associate most often? When you're striving towards the achievement of your goal, you need to surround yourself with like-minded people who will encourage you. While poor company will hold you back, surrounding yourself with the right people will maximize your success. It will change your attitudes, your environment. This is something that is a great best practice. I encourage all of my clients to do so. I think we've all got a handful of the naysayers, the negative Nancys in our lives, and no offense to anyone named Nancy. We just need to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with people who compliment us, not from a, hey, you're really cool compliment perspective, but complementary to our skill sets, what we want to achieve, like-minded people. That's really, really important and will help you become successful, achieve your goals. You'll really see this change your life by surrounding yourself with people who positive attitudes and like-minded, goal-oriented, purpose-driven people. All right. Now, this quote I share with you is from APJ Abdul Kalam, the 11th president of India. Now, he says, to succeed in your mission, you must have a single-minded devotion to your goal. That's all about mindset and discipline. So I want you to take a minute and think about your goals. After you've kind of thought through your goals, put in the chat your number 1 goal. The number 1 thing you want to accomplish, whether it's today, next week, next year. Oh, the weight loss one. That's always a fun one. Rodolfo, I can help with that. I've got a good game plan. While I'm not a dietitian, I've got some pretty good experiences there. All right, so let's talk about creative ways to accomplish your goals. Number 1, and this is an important one. Oh, Kip, raise money for our ministry. Fantastic goal. That's a very noble one as well. So moving on to ways to achieve your goals or strategies. The most creative and powerful way to accomplish your goals is by visualizing the outcome of your desire. Believe it or not, your actions greatly depend on your thoughts. You become what you think. Everything that has ever come into being was once a mere thought. Always visualize the outcomes you want to achieve. Now, I'm a believer in using a vision board. I've completed my vision board for 2021. It includes some really simple things like a picture of a mortgage statement with a 0 balance, a black Dodge Ram purchased with cash, and my wife and boys on a boat in the ocean fishing for tuna. Now, these images, they inspire me every single day to make sure that I'm laser focused on my business and personal goals. These also really help with distractions. When things start coming at you throughout the day, you can look up at your vision board and you can say, do these things contribute to my goals? Do these things contribute to the big picture? If not, I need a really compelling reason why I'm doing them. This really helps you eliminate the distractions. And number 2, speak with conviction when you're talking about your goals. This is an important one and it speaks to mindset. Remove all tentative language from your vocabulary. Instead of saying, I wish, I want, I hope, I will, or I am, there's so much power in words and repetition. Tell yourself that you'll attain your goal come heck or high water. You'll achieve anything. You're strong, you're capable. Never stop affirming yourself and never stop working towards what you want. Now, I can spend all day talking about daily affirmations. It's a practice that I've used for years. It's extremely helpful to start the day every day, writing down your affirmations to keep on point throughout the day. Number three, break down bigger goals into sub goals. One of the biggest enemies of achievement is the feeling of being overwhelmed. You want to achieve a lofty goal, try breaking it down into parts and tackling them gradually as you go along. Not only does this keep you from getting burned out, but sub goals allow you to track your progress as you go along, which is highly motivational. Remember the dopamine drip. Now, using my example of the vision board, those visions, those three objectives are broken down into some very specific time-bound revenue and cash flow goals. The goals are adjusted for seasonality in the business. They're also very easily measured. In short, they follow the SMART goal format. Now, intention is a whole nother story, right? Many people set goals with the right intention. They're super motivated on the goal setting day. They're invigorated by the possibility of what will happen. They're eager to start the process, but I liken this to, at the beginning of the year, if you go to a gym, it's packed. There are gazillions of people. And then week 2, there are fewer. In week 3, there are fewer. In week 4, there are fewer. By February 1st, the gym is back to its normal capacity. I call that the New Year's resolution syndrome. We get out of the gate strong, and then boom, 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 we fall off. In terms of the obstacle, people are petrified of falling short. Nobody wants to fail. I don't want to fail. The fact of the matter is, failure sometimes is okay. You don't really want to have that in the forefront of your mind when you're setting your goals. But the most important step in the entire goal setting process, just start, begin, do it. There's no greater step you can take towards meeting your goals than just doing it, just getting it started. At the Maxwell organization, we call Monday due day, DO day. That is the day that we take action to propel ourselves towards our goals. Literally starting the process will increase your chances for success. Now, don't get me wrong, there are many other factors that I'll touch on shortly, but I want to emphasize with you how important it is to just get started. So here's my recommendation for this very minute, right now. Make a decision. What is your goal? Once you've identified that goal, declare it out loud. I mean, scream it at the top of your lungs. Tell us, what will you achieve? Second, get a pen and paper and write it down 5 times. That's the repetition piece. Write your goal down 5 times. Third, get on the phone and call 3 people in your life who will hold you accountable and will check on you at least monthly. There's great power in accountability. I've got several partners who keep me honest about my goals and keep me on track. One of my partners I talk with every single week to make sure that I'm moving down the right path. I strongly encourage you to share your goal with others. Some people do it on social media. Some people say, hey, here's my goal. I want you to hold me accountable on Facebook or any of the social media platforms that you may use. Consider creating your own board of directors for accountability. This is a group of people like-minded who have some experiences who can really help make sure that you're moving down the right path. Now, the fourth and last step I'll share with you just in a minute. All right, are you ready? If your goal is to lose weight, if your goal is to make more money, if your goal is to buy a new car, if your goal is to fall in love or pay off debt, do not have a backup plan. What? No backup plan? In business, they tell us have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D. And while in many cases, that's probably smart, with goal setting, you don't want a backup plan. Have you ever heard of the order to burn the ships? In 1519, Captain Hernan Cortez landed in Veracruz intent on conquering the Mexican coastline. Shortly after his arrival, Cortez ordered all the ships burned. Why? Why would he do this? He didn't want to have an exit strategy. He didn't want to have people to fall back on. If I don't do what Cortez says, I can just hop back on the ship and go home to my family. Well, guess what? There's no ship. So I've got to march forward. His men were faced with no way to retreat So they were forced to go through up the Mexican coastline. Many people play their goal setting too safe because they are fearful of missing the mark. But my challenge to you is to have only one plan, and that plan is success. So if your goal is to lose 35 pounds by the time you go on vacation, do not have a plan B that says losing 20 pounds is okay. If your goal is to make an extra $20,000 this year, don't settle for $19,000. Do whatever it takes. I call it the do whatever it takes mentality. It's super important to be laser focused on your goals and not have a backup plan. In fact, I want you to have tunnel vision for your desired outcome and don't let yourself stop or even take a day off until you hit your goal. And there's something really, really important you must do. Party like it's 1969. Well, that was before I was born, but not by much. You must celebrate and process your success. Each breakthrough requires acknowledgement of your effort. Make the journey filled with recognition. It is so important, to begin with brain chemistry, to celebrate these things. I encourage my clients to pick a reward, whether it's buying something or going somewhere or enjoying a beverage or meal. Pick a reward for not only achieving the goal, but the success measures that I've put in place to get to that goal. Now, Ben Renshaw, he's the director of Happiness Project and Success Intelligence. He says on average, by the age of 18, we'll have been praised 30,000 times. Here's the bad part. Most of this by the time we were 3 years old. So somewhere along the way, we stopped celebrating. Neglecting to celebrate your success can cause you to slowly and subconsciously start to take a negative view of your accomplishments. When you focus on what you've accomplished instead of what you have what you haven't accomplished, instead of what you have accomplished, you're less likely to stay on task. I'll repeat that again. Neglecting to celebrate your success can cause you to slowly and subconsciously start to take a negative view of your accomplishments. When you focus on what you haven't accomplished instead of what you have, you are less likely to stay on track and complete your goals. The good news is that celebrating your accomplishments can boost your confidence, help stave off burnout, and fuel your continued success. So, what is the first milestone you will be celebrating, and how will you celebrate it? As you go through the goal setting process, think about that. My goal is X. In my vision board, I've got a brand new truck if I hit a goal. That's the kind of celebration that I've got. Now, that goal is a pretty lofty goal. It's a very big stretch goal. It's one that will keep me out of my comfort zone. So going back to accountability and support, I am a huge advocate of accountability. We are all human beings, and left to our own devices, we will typically quit when the going gets tough. If you're looking for someone to hold you accountable, it would be my personal honor. Even better yet, why don't we all hold each other accountable? Post your top 3 goals and action steps below. Make them smart. I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. In the chat, post your top 3 goals and action steps. Now, if you're on Facebook, you can pop those into the comments. Now, if you can't think of the top 3, pop in your number 1, and Rodolfo and Kip, you've already done so. Just put in a couple of action steps into the chat. I'll give you 1 more minute. All right. Well, I'll share with you my goal and action steps at a high level. I've got a lofty revenue goal for next year. It's to double my revenue. And the action steps, it's a very detailed plan, but just at a high level, action steps are to do 2 speaking engagements every single month, to get 2 new coaching clients every single month. And then the goal goes on to sub goals that actually have some more, people I need to talk to and different events that I need to do to achieve those goals. Brandon, my number one goal is to open our first location and work towards opening the second location. Fantastic goal. And I know that you've got a good game plan to do that, and I'm looking forward to that as well. So remember, smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound in your goal setting process. Now, before we part, I want to share some goal setting resources that might serve you well on your quest to make sure all of your goals are a reality. Number one, if you've heard me speak, you've heard me talk a lot about journaling. Get a journal, document your days, your weeks, your months, so you can measure your progress. And I've been journaling since 2013. I use an app. It's an iOS app called Day One. It is a phenomenal application that prompts me. If I forget to put something in my journal, it prompts me to put something in my journal. It allows me to use templates. So I mentioned that I use daily affirmations. So I've got a daily affirmation template that I use. And then it reminds me periodically. In fact, going to my weight loss goal on this day last year, it will have a picture of me and how much weight I lost. So that journaling is a really good way to make sure that you're staying on course and measuring your progress. Read. A simple Google search will elicit an overwhelming number of books to read, but check these out. There's a book by Brian Tracy called Goals: How to Get Everything You Want Faster Than You Ever Thought Possible. There's one written by David J. Schwartz, The Magic of Thinking Big: Acquire the Secrets of Success, Achieving Everything You've Always Wanted. This one by Bernard Roth, The Achievement Habit: Stop wishing, start doing, and take command of your life. And then one of my favorites by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And number 3, download. We've all got our phones glued to us. There are a ton of apps that will help with goal setting, whether you're Android or iOS. There are many, but here's 3 good examples. There's an app called Strides. There's one called Way of Life. There's one called Goals on Track. I use one called Habits. There are a ton of them out there, but I encourage you to have something to help keep that at front of mind. Number 4, and most importantly, believe. The most important resource you have is the need to believe. Believe deeply in yourself. You can do this. Now, I believe in you. You need to believe in you. Now, I know I've unleashed a lot of information, and you're likely feeling one of 2 ways. You're either inspired or overwhelmed. Both of these feelings can be used as an incentive for you to creatively set and achieve your goals while avoiding common mistakes. Setting goals is deeply significant and will impact your life for many years to come. If you need additional support, feel free to reach out. Each of you will have my contact information. Now, I want to thank you for taking the time to attend this session. Helping people set and achieve their goals is very, very important to me. If you have any additional questions, send them my way. I'll always be here to support and guide you. And I want to share with you a couple of resources before we part. And I will send you an email with a list of different resources, but the top 3 used to compile this session today were codeofliving.com, Forbes.com, and lifehack.org. Later today, you'll receive an email from me with additional resources. If you would like to learn more about goal setting or want to read further on the subject, a list of resources will be sent via email following today's session. If you'd like to schedule time with me to go deeper into the topic of goal setting or take advantage of my complimentary 30-minute coaching session, you can do so at my website, www.edwardsgrouptx.com. Now, again, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to help each of you define and accomplish your goals. If you can think of any questions or comments you'd like to share, feel free to post them. And if anyone is interested in working together one-on-one, please send me a message at mde@edwardsgrouptx.com or schedule a 30-minute coaching at my website, www.edwardsgrouptx.com. I want to leave you with the quote from Abdul Kalam again. To succeed in your mission, you must have a single-minded devotion to your goal. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and make it a great day.